What's up and welcome back to Poetry, Prose, and Politics with me, the political poet, Jamia Zarzuela. And on today's episode, I'll be bringing out one of my friends to explore how what we believe, either individually or collectively, influences the social norms, culture, and policies, especially ones that impact Black boys and Black men in our society today. Dustin Edwards is a comedian and U.S. veteran from Louisiana who received his BA in Sociology and a Master's in Criminal Justice at the University of Louisiana. His passion is to explore the intersectionalities of the Black diaspora in comedy, as well as bring a little bit of comic relief or comedic relief to the harsh realities of being a Black person in America. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. This is Afromations with Dustin Edwards. This episode is sponsored by Coconut Casual, a Black-owned lifestyle brand focused on positively impacting our globe by promoting female empowerment. It's all love at Coconut Casual. And remember, if it's for us and by us, then support us. Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Jamia Zarzuela, the political poet. And on today's episode, I have a very special guest here. And I'm really excited to dive into this conversation because me being a mother of two sons, me being a wife of a husband, right, in all intents and purposes, I really wanted to talk with somebody that did study sociology and get their perspective on it. But also, too, I get to do that with, for one, a friend, and for two, another Black man as well. So if you would like to introduce yourself, Dustin.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? To Mia's fan base, my name is Dustin Edwards, as she says. I'm a comedian slash, I guess, slight social activist, maybe. I don't know, I do what I can. But Army vet, originally from Louisiana. Got my bachelor's in sociology in 2015. Got my master's in criminal justice in 2017 from the University of Louisiana. Shout out Raging Cajuns. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm glad she had me on the show today, and I'm excited to talk about some topics. I don't really get to have like these discussions too much, so I'm kind of excited as well.
So, I know that we're going to be talking about like a little slightly softer topic for you. In regards, when I say a softer topic, what I mean more so is that we'll be talking about like affirmations and like what an affirmation statement is, right? Mm-hmm. And normally, like, you're a comedian. I think that like something that is common in your stand-up, or at least is what you explain it, is that you have people laugh at your pain. And I remember one time, like maybe last week, we were talking, and you told me a story about like when you went out on a date, and the girl, she kind of was just like, she kind of didn't allow you to express your emotions, and that's kind of what prompted this conversation.
Okay, and I don't want to demonize her. I'm not gonna say she didn't allow me to express my emotions. Again, I don't want, because again, like I feel like we had a heart to heart. I just don't know how receptive she was to it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if that's something she was used to seeing, like, especially since that was our first date. But to give y'all a little bit of a backstory, me and a woman I met, we went on our first date. We went to, like, I'm not gonna say the specific bar because then you know who I'm talking about. We went to a waterfront, let's put it that way. And we sat by the waterfront and we talked, and the topic of like grief came up, and I was explaining how I lost my brother in 2021. R.I.P. Big Two. But yeah, so we started talking about that, and I don't know, like, I don't usually try to get emotional around people, and usually I'm pretty good. But I don't know, it was just something about that point in time. Like, I don't know, I have my moments sometimes, and it was one of those moments. And yeah, I did get a bit emotional, and I did start to cry. And like I said, I wouldn't say that she didn't allow me to be emotional, but I just don't know how receptive she was to it. And again, it could just be maybe she didn't like me, maybe she just wasn't feeling the vibe, but it felt almost though like it kind of just threw the whole, vibe off, kind of. And again, I hate that it has to be that way, but it just feels like in today's society as a Black man, it's not like, I guess it's better in 2023, but it's not like socially acceptable for us to be like weak or show, vulnerability in public, I guess.
And imagine being like when I look at the definition of weakness, when I think about what weakness is, I don't think that that's weakness. I think that that's just you being, vulnerable to a certain extent, but like you're feeling pain, like you're in pain because you're grieving someone, and it's not easy. In fact, I think that like when it comes to grief, the grief never, the amount of the grief, the weight of it never goes away. It never lessens. You just somehow, with time, like build, I don't want to say become colder, but like build more resilience to that pain that you're feeling. But the same amount of pain, it hits you 15 years from now. It hits you, 15 months from now, and it's going to be like exactly as when you learned the news. So I don't really know, like, I think that is very interesting, because something that you said in that conversation was, like maybe she thought I was emotionally unstable.
I mean, she could. I told her, I was like, I was in the military, I deployed and stuff like that. And the first thing people hit, like when people hear you in the military and that you deployed, the first thing they think is like, this motherfucker crazy, or like he sees some shit, like he throw it off. And it's like, we all got our shit we deal with, but I don't know. Again, that could have played a part into it as well. And I don't want to demonize this young lady. I really don't. Like, again, maybe I just was not her cup of tea. Maybe it just wasn't, it wasn't.
And that could have been the case, but we know for 9 times out of 10, even something that I've had to deal with and something that I've had to unlearn is like, Jania, you're not giving this person space, or this, you're not, specifically we're talking about cisgendered black men in America, right? So, you're not giving this black man space to be able to express themselves. And then like later on, most definitely I'd like to expound on male-bodied people that are experiencing like a different reality, that are non-binary, or a transgender man, and how their perception of like being either a black male or a black man in America, because that's a different token. But today, like specifically, if we're talking about like what it is that black men have to deal with, it's really kind of scary when I think about it. It's daunting to me as a mother of black sons. And it's really interesting because like I said on the podcast, my sons are like light skinned, so people are gonna be like, these Terrence Howard kids, like they're gonna be like, they're gonna be emotional, and like however you imagine Terrence Howard crying on whatever show he's crying on, or whatever movie he's crying on. Like, I definitely imagine people looking at them like that and saying it's because they're light skinned, and not because it's because their black mom really didn't want them to have to conform to the standard of black men are not allowed to cry, black men are not allowed to show their emotions, black men are not strong if they feel. And I feel like that's very inhumane. And like I said, I think that does stem from one of my favorite books was by Ibram X. Kendi. And it's called Stamped from the Beginning. And I feel like he talked about the inhumane treatment and standards that black people that was imposed on us. And that really shaped my view of how I viewed black men in general. So, and then also too, having sons, I'd hate for them to grow up and think that they couldn't be vulnerable. And I say that because, for one, I imagined that I was going to have daughters. I thought that I was going to be a girl mom, and I thought I was going to teach my daughter to be a girl boss. And now I have 2 sons back to back, and my husband got that snip. So if I have a daughter, it's going to be from like us adopting that daughter, right? So nevertheless, though, I say this because like a lot of like my practice that I have gotten into and that I've explored is in doing affirmations and saying I am. Literally, my mirror over there, it has my affirmations of the month, right? And so basically what an I am statement is a statement that tells one tells themselves to affirm or declare as truth to align with them in their purpose and their destiny. So it would be, I am enough. I, Jamia, am enough. But also too, it can be what someone imposes on you. So you, Jamia, are enough. And then how we talk about each other to someone else. So you telling someone else that she, Jamia, is enough is also an affirmation statement. And when we think of affirmation statements, we think of like, we forget that, an affirmation statement that we say, traditionally in the mirror is something that we try to bring light into ourselves. But we live in a society in where the collective has a view imposed on them. And so the ton of Black people, the Black diaspora, we also have to live in a world where they say, where we say like, I, Black woman, am enough. You, Black woman, are enough. She, Black woman, is enough. And we know that ain't nobody said that in history's time. It was always something else. It was always, you Black men are a beast. That Black man, he, is a beast.
And again, I feel like
so
all
on
of
and so
this
forth.
kind of stems back from, I know people that want, like, a lot of people don't want to hear this, of course, but it stems back from slavery. Like, just the way we have been conditioned as like a people. Like I said, there are a lot of things I see growing up, like, that was normalized to us, but looking back, it was not normal. It was like a slave mentality we were thinking, kind of. So like and like I said, that was just what was passed down from generation to generation, something like that. So like I said, when you talk about affirmations, I like that. Like, when I think, all right, so when you talk about affirmations, it kind of makes me think about like situations I've been in where I've been around like my friends, like people that I know, like I wouldn't say close friends, but like Black men that are supposed to be friends with me, and I would talk about something that would be like a vulnerable moment or something that was like, that's emotional to me. Like, let's say, like, for example, like relationship. I was talking about the first time I got my heart broken, and the first thing that they said was, "Oh man, this nigga and his feelings, man." Oh, can I say nigga?
Yeah. You're good.
It's like, "Oh man, this nigga and his feelings, bro. Like, this nigga soft." And I'm like, bro, like, as a man, I can't like have my heart broken and express that heartbreak like made me feel some type of way. And I feel like that's why so many Black men have so much pent up and repressed like anger and rage and shit like that.
And we can say like, "Oh, we on some hotep shit. Oh, we on some like, you just want to blame the system." No, like, historically you can see it. Like, there's this, you can pinpoint it in history in which this is what has been taught to us, and that this is what it is that we have to be. So regardless if you think that, like, even right now, if you're listening to this and you say like, nah, Black men aren't supposed to cry, what nonsense? Like, but yeah, exactly. But why? And why are Black men not supposed to cry when literally tears exist? If your body, do you realize that like that your tears itself is a toxin? You're literally releasing your emotion. It actually holds, I think they were able to find like cortisol or something like literally in tears. It's salty for a reason. Release it.
I'm gonna be vulnerable for a second, so hopefully another Black man hearing this will be like, damn, okay, maybe it is okay and shit like that. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I've grown immensely in my later adult years. Like, I've really grown emotionally, spiritually. So like, I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. So me personally, I ain't gonna lie to you, I literally would like have a point, like if I'm just feeling overwhelmed, I'm just feeling some type of way, I literally would like just kind of seclude myself, like turn my phone off and just like listen to music and like cry, like for real. Because it really do feel good to cry sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you, it really does. And like,
I don't even think that it's that Black men don't cry. I think, and I know that there are some Black men that don't cry because they can't, but I do think that there are Black men that just won't say that they do cry.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, like, I'm be honest, like growing up, I never saw my father cry ever. Even when my brother died, I never saw my daddy cry. Like, that was the first time I saw my mother. Yeah, I know
that hurts him.
It definitely hurt him. Like, it definitely hurt him. But I did not see it. And again, I think he was just more so trying to stay strong and like put on that front for me and the rest of my siblings. And the one thing I do remember him telling me, because you talked about it earlier, but we were talking about like grief and grieving, and he told me the one thing. He said, then he told me like time heals all wounds. And it seems kind of simple, but that really stuck with me, because like, you're right, like grief never goes away, but the only thing that can really help is time. And like, you know, it's always going to be there, but it never really.
And I feel like
goes
the
away.
weight of it is the exact same.
Yeah, definitely.
The weight of a situation is exactly the same, because that's what anxiety is. When I experience anxiety, I experience as if I was in that moment, that thing occurred, or whatever happened in that moment. I feel it, and my body really tenses up. And even if I'm not in a situation that mimics it, if something triggers me, and a trigger can be like, I grew up with watching abuse, right? So if I can remember the color of the wall that my mama painted her living room, and I can see like my mom get beat on pregnant, and I know that color. So like me like looking at that color can be like I can have a weird moment. My mom, her favorite scent back in the day was it was apple cinnamon. So I can people might smell apple cinnamon and it might make them feel like home. It makes me feel like I am trapped. So like when we talk about triggers, it's a real thing. And when we talk about people need therapy, people need to be able to experience therapy, or black men need to be able to journal, or black men need to be able to experience yoga. If you don't want to go to like a yoga class and it's just a whole bunch of white people, you're not trying to build your body. But if it's a whole bunch of other black men doing it, like,
man, honestly,
and the wellness, it would be fun.
Let me just say this. First let me say black men go to therapy. Like I'm advocating for that. Hashtag black men go to therapy, okay? But I just want to say, like, bro, like that's the one thing we need to get out of, is like holding up that image, or like that being tough image, like that machismo image, I guess you could say. I just in general giving a fuck about what people think. Like I went to a yoga class one time, like first time I went, it was majority white people. I was like, bro, I don't give a fuck. I'm out to enjoy myself. Like I don't, like, there were people looking at me weird, cause like, oh, who's this nigga in here? Like I know that's a good thing, but I still enjoyed myself. Like I did my poses, I did cat poses, whatever the fuck, and I really felt good after. That's why I say, like, we as black men, we gotta start getting out of our comfort zone and stop letting society put us in a box and tell us like, oh yeah, you supposed to be this and you can't do this because you're a man and you're a black man. Like white dudes go out and do all kind of shit. Nobody ever questions them or their masculinity.
We talked about DDG, right? We talked about the DDG briefly, what he did in his song, and him talking about how he was hurt and he experienced jealousy in his relationship that was overwhelming, and that jealousy led to him having self-destructive moments in his relationship, and he was self-sabotaging himself. We do that. We as humans, I'm not even talking about black or white, putting a color on it. Humans self-sabotage when they have pent up emotions that they feel in regards to like whatever it is that they're experiencing, right? So like we can look at DDG and say, again, Terrence Howard and the whole raspy stuttery voice that he be doing, like, you know, Terrence Howard, he a good actor, right?
Yeah.
He a good actor. And so like with him doing that, like I just, if art is supposed to be able to capture your truth, and art, literally what it was it reflected, you know, the reality of that person, and art imitates life. Actually, I think it was Ice Cube that even said that art is reflecting the reality of the ghetto. Yeah. So if hip hop is reflecting the reality of the ghetto, then what is the ghetto? Like what is Dear Mama? Mm-hmm. What is actually what's it called? Wu-Tang Clan talking about in Cream. Like, the reason why also too, what we forget is Casual's money, Casual's everything around me, money get the dollar bill, y'all. Yeah. But like also too, it talked about how like, oh, we live in a society in which I need to get this money because I'm stuck. She needs to get this money, but she's going to literally hold herself, pimp herself out until she's nothing more, because she was already raped, because she was already, this is all that she has. We look at YG and Kendrick Lamar's song. What is it? Freaking...
Which one?
YG and Kendrick Lamar has a song where they talked about self-medicating. That's why I really be smoking and I really be drinking.
I think I know the song you're talking
about. That's why I really be smoking. And what do you think he's talking about? He really be smoking, he really be drinking, because literally in the song he's talking about how Kendrick talks about how somebody died, how he was really fucked up. YG talks about how he wants to get revenge because somebody was hurting. Like, that's what self-medicating is. So you can't look at a man and say like, oh, or at least with DDG's case, you can't look at him and say that he's a punk or he's soft, and he, like, maybe I can say that that's some fuck nigga
But he's
shit.
being vulnerable though. Again, like he's legit. And again, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit toxic because when he first came out, me personally, I was like, man, this nigga lame as hell. But then I'm just being honest. But then I had to really think about, like, hold up, okay, like legit.
What is
honestly, that's what I'm saying. It's like, hold up, he really actually like kind of, if he's sincere in his message, then yeah, he's actually like expressing like, man, this is how I feel, and this is why I feel this way. And it's like, why are we like giving him shit for like kind of coming out and just openly expressing how he feels? I don't understand. Like,
if art reflects life.
Yeah, and like even with Rod Wave, probably one of my favorite artists. Everybody, Rod Wave too emotional. His music.
What does Future do?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
what does Future talks about doing drugs because of a bitch? Like, what are we talking about? So and we listen to it, and we like really in the club shaking our ass to it.
Black men, especially, I feel like black men, we are more so inclined to self-medicate and go down that road where we just smoke hella drugs and pop hella pills and just deal with it that way, opposed to like the Rod Wave route of actually talking about it and expressing how you feel. Because I've done it before. I've been at a point where I just literally would smoke blunt after blunt after blunt, opposed to talking about my problems. You know.
Me too. Like as a black woman, for sure. Like, and something that I definitely admit is that I grew up seeing weed be normal. Weed was so normalized for me, so I started smoking at 11. Or the first time I smoked weed was 11. When I tell people that, they're like, wow.
Well, I know somebody who smoked at 9, so I mean, I still...
My dad started smoking at 9, and he was selling drugs at like... He became kingpin in his area at a really early age, really. So anyway, with that regard, like, yeah, we get pushed on to like numb ourselves. But if J. Cole is telling you to heal yourself, if Kendrick is telling you to heal yourself, if they're making it cool, when are you going to finally embrace it and then like look at that black man's pain and not look at it as whack? Yeah. Because most definitely, just like I said on your podcast, most definitely what happened with Tom Cruise jumping on Oprah couches.
Oh yeah.
We just looked at that man like he was saucy, and that was it. Oh, he was saucy, but all right, we're gonna give him a pass. Nobody said anything. We look at, and then also too, we're able to like look at a cute couple, and we're able to embrace the fact that their couple goals. Back when Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith was couple goals, we looked at it and loved it. Yeah. We loved how much he loved his wife. So why aren't we loving how much he loves his wife now? Because he's literally looking like, we say he looks like a fool. Well, he loves his wife.
Yeah, and exactly.
What's the difference?
If he likes it, like, we should love it. Like, what's the... Again...
Or we could just mind our business.
Yeah, you just mind our business. But
we like can't because she put it out there. But but at the same time...
I mean, I don't know. That whole situation, Will and Jada, I just was like, bro, if you have a certain... And again, I don't even know the full... Like, I feel like we don't even fully really know the full story behind what happened between her and August.
Ethical non-monogamy.
Yeah,
they told us what it was.
But no, again, like I said, if they have a set standard or a set way of how they operate in their relationship, then look, that is completely on them. I feel like we were trying to make Will feel like less of a man because, oh man, you letting another man in your house fuck. Like, bro, y'all don't even... Again, like I said, if this had been Tom Cruise and Katie, whatever the fuck her name was, and there was an open relationship, even the Adam 22 situation, you know who Adam 22 is, right? The No Jumper podcast dude.
Yeah.
So even him, I feel like he hasn't been getting as much shit, and his girl got cream pied on camera, and people didn't even.
Wow.
Yeah, she did.
Wow.
And again, I'm not just go look it up. Adam 22, Lena the Plug. They had like an open relationship.
Destiny has an open relationship with his wife, and people. The reason Destiny, he's like the blue-haired guy who's a libertarian, and he talks about politics often. I don't always agree what it is that he talks about, but like most definitely, I feel like with this red pill thing coming back, because I'm like, when did red pill mean what red pill doesn't mean? Like, when did red pill become into misogyny? Because when we talk about, like, when you think of red pill, when you think of waking up and you think of the Matrix, when you think of who Keanu Reeves was in that movie, did you not see him also love that woman?
Yeah, like he was,
did you not see him
he was
be
one.
emotional?
Yeah.
Did you not see him in his sacrificial, like he didn't want to sacrifice as much as he did. He had no choice. What are we talking about? He wasn't.
Like I said, now you got me thinking about this red pill shit. Cause all right, I'm not a pick me at all. I call bullshit when I see it, like men and women. But I do feel as though the level of like incel activity and just like red pill shit has like really gone through the roof. And again, it's really more
given
so,
they don't have pussy.
Yeah, that right there. Cause it's like these dudes who are bitter, and like I said, instead of like looking at yourself and be like, okay, what can I do? Or like what do I need to do to better myself? Or like what am I doing to contribute to the problem? You'd rather point the finger like, oh no, women don't do this and women don't do that. Modern women ain't shit, and you ain't like our grandmothers. And then, like I said, on the other side of the coin, too, you have women saying, "Oh, men, I want to be like you were saying one time that women want to benefit from the patriarchal rules, but not live in a patriarchy." So it's like some women want a man to act like a man, but they don't want to adhere a man's man, but they don't want to adhere to the patriarchal stereotypes. So like I say, it's on both sides. But going back to the red pill shit. Again, it's niggas that don't get ass, niggas that don't get pussy.
I literally, I can kill a spider, but I had my husband kill a spider.
I mean,
I definitely had that man kill a spider because I felt like it was his DNA duty. Like it was embedded in his genes that he was obligated to kill that spider because it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And what portion of the patriarchy am I supposed to like? Like for instance, when our dryer broke, I asked him, does he even know how to fix it? Because he went to start like taking it apart to fix it, and he was like, no, but I'm gonna look it up. And I was like, wow, like you really have to just I that was like when it hit me, where I was like, dang, I really expect this man to fix a dryer so that he can save $100 or $150 on somebody else, fixing it for me. And he doesn't even know how to do it. Obviously, like before I had a man, I knew how to change my own oil because I had shout out to Westchester Western Magnet. It was a STEM school, so we had auto mechanic. We literally had like where we put my car up on the little thing, and they showed me how to change my tire, how to change my brakes, how to change my oil, different things like that. So with all of that being said, I know how to do it. I still definitely expect a man to do it.
Again, let me just say this. I feel like there's a very gray area when it comes to like gender roles and like, again, I'm not saying there's a way you can like let a man be a man and a woman be a woman without being toxic. Like it's all about partnership, as you said.
And we're talking about
cisgender,
heteronormative relationships.
Like I said, if you want to let your husband like change the oil and kill spiders, like be my guest. But at the same time, like me as a man, that's just what I want to do. But if my wife feels like, because I know there's a lot of men, they feel insecure if their wife makes more money than them, or they feel insecure if their wife like does certain things. Like, look, I'm secure enough in my manhood to where I know I love my wife. I don't have a wife, but if I had a wife, I would know that I love her, and like it doesn't matter what she does, what I do. Like I'm a man, she's a woman. Like we have that like dynamic. So she can go outside and cut the grass. Like I'm still not gonna look at that. Like of course I want to do it. I'm not gonna. But again, it's not like a big deal if she like just what.
We was going on post and Oliver didn't have his shirt on because it was a hot night and we was just driving in the car with the kids, and we obviously they do trunk inspections.
Yeah.
And I ended up telling him like no, I'll do it. I'll open the trunk, and he didn't have his shirt or his shoes on. I don't know. My husband's a Guala, which he's literally an island man. Like he's from DR, and so I was just like, no, it's cool. I'll go do it. And so he was like, no, Jamia, they're going to say something. They're going to talk shit about me. Don't do it. And I was like, I got it. And I get out the car and they said, not you making your wife go open the trunk. And then he was like, this lazy motherfucker. And I was so surprised that the guard had said that to him because, I mean, maybe, of course, they can see his rank or whatever, like on the card. But like, I was like, it's fine. Like, he don't have no shirt on and they ain't got no shoes on. I'm gonna do it. So it's cool. Cause I'm dressed, right? So I think that it's, again, culturally how we see in social cultural and social norms is like, how are we viewing like what a man is supposed to, how men are supposed to show up in situations is hilarious to me.
And again, me personally, I feel like I'm very progressive, but there are still certain things that I do traditionally. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to do as a man. Like, just small shit. Like, if I'm walking on the sidewalk with you, I'm walking on the outside. I don't know why. Like, we get hit by a car, we both gonna die, but I'll die first, I guess. But, so yeah, that.
Somehow like, I'm gonna protect you.
Yeah, sometimes, hopefully I can, like, push you out the way in time or some shit. Like, whatever. But yeah, so we go on the first date, of course, like, especially if I invite you out, I'm gonna pay on the first date. And I don't know, it's just other things as a man I feel like I'm supposed to do. And it's not like, oh, I'm a man. It's just like me personally, I want to do that because I want to show my partner that I care about them and that I want to protect her as a woman type shit, you know.
So we're talking about like men and women, right? Mm-hmm. So like in your podcast, we define masculinity, or you specifically define masculinity, and we talked about that. Do you want to give the definition of masculinity again?
Oh, yeah, I gotta look this shit up.
It's right here.
Oh, right. Okay. Masculinity, qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of men or boys. Handsome, muscle, and driven. Damn, that's what the diction.
That's handsome, muscle,
and driven. That's what masculinity is in Webster's dictionary. That's crazy. Okay.
Which is like masculinity is going to be attributes associated to boys and men, right? So if attributes are associated to boys and men, then that means that we contribute to what we think is masculine.
Yes.
So because if it's we determine what the attributes are. And also, too, I think in the definition that you gave was it didn't have anything to do with biological, like how somebody was biologically. It had to do with how we specifically
characteristics
thought of that. So, like, we are contributing to the fact that black men can't cry.
Yeah, definitely so. Again, I definitely believe that
because we refuse to believe, right?
Again, it's almost a catch-22, if you will. Because, like I said, like. And I want to say this. I'm going to just speak candidly, and I'm going to try to watch my words as I can. A good example, we talked about the show Insecure. I actually just recently watched the show Insecure. Good show. But the example I always think of is Molly and the dude that was, like, gay, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, we're not gay, but see?
Exactly. We do it in our own, and we're growing as people.
Right?
And also, too, you said, see, I want to say that, like, we are growing as people, and we are ever evolving as this world is as well. And once we feel like we got it, it moves. So like what I do want to say is that like for anybody that comes on the show, you don't need to like be afraid to, if you mess up. He had a gay experience.
Yeah, he had a gay experience and he told her about it. Yeah, he had a gay experience in college and he told her about it. And then she just couldn't see past it. Like, the only thing she saw was like, oh man, he gay. Like I said, and that's legit the first thing. Like, a black woman could go to college, and you said you yourself identify as queer. So a black woman could go to college, she could like sleep with like 10 girls, like being like eating pussy. I'm sorry, doing all kind of crazy shit, and nobody gonna like. She can come back to the world where people go like, yeah, you know.
Nobody actually, you know what? But there's a catch-22 to that, my friend, because they think of it as, for one, some girls think of me as I'm something that they can experiment with. Other women think that I'm gross.
Really?
And they think that I might try to hit on them. And I'm like, bitch, I have standards.
Women feel
You're not my standard, yeah.
So women feel some type. Again,
some women feel some type of way
so
that I'm not a
woman. So if women know that
straight
you're queer and you come around, they feel some type of way
that
like you looking at them, you trying to get at them.
Yeah, like they might.
So it's the same
I've grown up with women that have told me like I can't. Like they don't want to change around me because like they think that,
I thought women were like, I don't want to sound ignorant, but I thought women were like way more comfortable in their sexuality when
sometimes
it came to,
when it's because if they feel like they're gonna be viewed as an object, then they don't want to. But you know what's funny is that I'll say, well, I'm not even attracted to you, and then they get offended that I'm not attracted to them, and I'm like, bitch,
that same shit happened one
time. You're my friend, so of course I'm not gonna be attracted to you. I'm able to view you as my friend. Yeah. But men think that I get to have a threesome.
Yeah.
Or men think that it's hot. So it doesn't even, and you know what? Other people think that it's just a phase. Mm-hmm. So I'm either a phase or it's hot or I'm gross. And because of that, it's still a catch-22 because it's like my particular sexuality is for somebody else.
Yeah. It's
and
like
not for
you
me.
don't get to, how do I put it? Everybody else is defining what your sexuality is instead of
rather than allowing me to come to them. But like, I'm very much so guilty of like watching a man do some stuff.
A dude could even like kiss a dude on the cheek and be, oh, this nigga, y'all like a nigga kiss a dick and he's gay. And again, me personally, like I said, I'm a cis hetero male. I love women, but I don't judge anybody. If a man wants to explore that spectrum, hey brother, I feel like you should be able to do what you want to do, and nobody should look at you any different for it. But that's not the case. If a man is bisexual in college and he comes out and tells his wife that, most likely 9 times out of 10 she's not gonna look at him the same. I'm just saying, in the black community, at least the experience.
I'm definitely benign though. Like if my husband was to come to me and he was to tell me something, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you're an outlier to that rule. I feel like, because there's an anomaly to every rule, but. I
wouldn't break up with him, but I'd be like, what?
That's why I say, like, and it doesn't take much. Like, I saw a woman online. She tweeted that it was zesty for a man to smoke hookah, and she was like, it's zesty for a nigga to suck on a lollipop. I'm like, hold up. First of all, lollipops are delicious, and second, they've been smoking hookahs in the Middle East for like 2,000 years.
What are we talking about? So you're just gonna shit on somebody's whole culture because you can't deal with it. So if a man eats a banana or eats a hot dog, so you're just not gonna enjoy a hot dog. So I'm just gonna stick to burgers then. And hot dogs are just strictly for women and children. And then so little kids are gonna be the only ones that are sheltered from this stereotype. And then when is that little? Because it's funny. When are we gonna stop? When is the defining moment that we stop looking at our sons as little boys and they're just children, and then they turn into something that we have to damn near groom into like something.
That's a good point.
I think that it's really weird that people say, oh, little, like, my son is the man of my household. Yeah, that to me is like weird. I understand like growing in because I grew up in a single parent household, but the man of the household, no, he's not even a man. Let that boy be a boy.
Yeah, like he's a child. I've seen that before. Weird. Literally, where it'll be like a single mother and she'll have a son and she'll almost treat him like that's her man or her husband. Like, whoa, this is getting real Oedipal. For those that are Oedipus complex, it's some Greek mythology shit for people. But yeah, this is getting real Oedipal, so it's like you might need to take a step back. Literally, I was working for...
The story of Oedipus is that he fucked his mom by accident.
Yeah,
okay,
I didn't look. Yeah,
it was what's it called? My intrusive thought. I had to say it. I'm sorry. That's what happened, man.
That's what happened. Just so you ain't got to Google it, Oedipus fucked his mom. But anyway, no, so when I was working for this company, I was like...
The first motherfucker? Okay, I'm done.
That was a good one. The first... I might use that.
I'm done.
But no. So I was working for this company as like a social worker, I guess you could say. And I had this case where it was like a mother. She had a single son. He was like 14 years old. And she legit would be like, oh yeah, he be going through my phone and he get mad when he see me messaging other men. And she was laughing like, this is not funny, lady.
Yeah,
like
this is not funny. He doesn't have boundaries.
He has no boundaries.
Didn't set.
And then she would get mad when he wouldn't like listen to her. Or he would like yell at her, and they would get into it. And he don't. I'm like, well, you sitting here treating him like he's your man, opposed to treating him like your son. And again, that's why I say like, I really feel like I talked to somebody about this earlier. I feel like there's a lot of factors that contributed to single parent households in the black community. Majorly the war on drugs, police killings, all kind of other shit. But yeah. So we've had to kind of...
Reaganomics.
Yeah, that too, Reaganomics. So we've had that kind of going against us for a while. So, yeah, we're just kind of starting to play catch up when it comes to the black home and black family. I was grateful enough to grow up in a 2-parent household. I was literally one of 4 kids in my neighborhood. It was me, Mario, Dexter, and I think one other person. It was literally out of my whole neighborhood. It was 4 of us who lived with both parents. That was it. Everybody, I would go to school and they'd be like, "You live with both of your parents?" Like, yeah. They're like, "What the fuck?"
So you got a dad.
Yeah. Well, he dead, not R.I.P. Down
rest to your father.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, I just definitely feel like having sons has definitely begin to shape like my view on how I'm beginning to see men and how I see black men. And again, like I said, my sons, for whatever reason, because I have absolutely no idea, my husband is darker than me and somehow I have very light-skinned babies.
They are rather fair-skinned.
And I want them to understand the nuances between us living in a colorist society, but us in them benefiting from colorism, but them still having to deal with the fact that they are black men in America. Because at the end of the day, the white people,
they don't give a fuck. You still in there,
and your dad is an immigrant, and you speak Spanish, and this is the world that you live in. And so there are so many nuances and intersectionalities in their identity that I want them to make sure that they embrace. But nevertheless, black men they are in America, and with them being black men, I want to cultivate a space and curate a space in which they feel safe and home. And
we need. I feel like you need to start like. Well, I feel like you're more suited to this than me because you're more of a community activist. Like you gotta. I don't know. It just seems like you're more eloquent in how you deliver messages and stuff. But I feel like I really wish we could start a movement. Like it was jokingly, but they had the thing online where it was like, "Oh, black men frolicking." I don't know if you saw that.
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Oh my god! So that was a word that Oliver used. So Oliver literally says that he'll text me and he'll send me like videos, and I'll ask him, what are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? He was like, oh, we're just frolicking, and it's just like him and the boys having a good time, and I love that for them. So, I love that for me.
Yeah, and that's why I say like we as a community as a whole, we just need to change our mindset and like start some kind of campaign or something to where I don't know, it has to be some name for it again.
Well, this is what I mean by I was thinking of like having Afromation.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
But something like that where we have like affirmations affirming black people in general, and
but again, I feel like some black men feel as though they don't. I ain't gonna say they don't feel like they deserve to feel their emotions, but they just don't feel like.
No, they don't.
Because even me, like I used to feel like, man, what's the point? Like, why I'm gonna talk about it? It don't matter. Like, fuck it, it don't even make the difference.
Because there's
like,
always gonna be like one person that's gonna fuck it up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and I think that you just have to do it anyway.
That's what
you're just gonna have to show up the way that you want to anyway, and people are going to adjust to you. And who am I as a woman that I say like I don't like feminism? I've said it before. I don't really stand for feminism as much. So maybe I'd say that I'm a hood feminist or something like that, because I did read a book called Hood Feminism. If you haven't read it, definitely check it out. But it talks about how feminism doesn't include gun violence. And we are suffering from gun violence. It includes how feminism doesn't include hunger when black women are suffering and hungry, and we live in food deserts and so on and so forth. But like I do always wonder, like, okay, well, how am I supposed to give a black man a voice to be able to express himself the way that he wants to, for sure. And for one, what I try to do with at least my sons is affirm them and say those affirmations. Like I said, the same affirmations, the same tactic that I use of going in the mirror and saying, I, Jamia, am enough. I, Jamia, am that girl. I, Jamia, am balanced. All of those things. I feel like, what does the Bible say in Genesis? And God said, let there be light, and so there was. What does the Bible talk about? There's life and death in the tongue. Like, this is something that I talk about on my podcast. So if we're saying these things and we're declaring them as true, then I feel like whatever it is that I speak on to my children, they're going to speak that on to themselves. I am their first voice, quite literally, because they grow in my womb, and I make the determination of whether or not they're going to live in this world. So I do believe that, like, at some extent, our black mothers are responsible, or black women are responsible for how their black sons decide to express themselves. And that's why I feel like it's a portion of my responsibility, not even a portion, it is my responsibility to make sure that they have the tools with using affirmations and speaking the truth into themselves.
No, you make a very good point, because like I love my mother, and like shout out my mother. I think she more so, like, I have 4 brothers, but she more so just raised us, because my mother was born in 1955. She was born in the South. So when she raised us, she was more so raising us in the aspect of like, oh, survive, like, like, because literally that's what all black people was kind of doing in the South back then, was just surviving. You know what I'm saying? That I know that not all black people, but at least my
most
mother,
definitely.
You know,
like we're not the bourgeois people that are able to. We are fortunate enough to to be lifted up and go to college and stuff like that.
Yeah, I went to college with football, thankfully. Yeah. We're not gonna talk about that. But I'm just saying, my mother as a whole, she didn't. Her whole thing was like, when you go out into the world, she would always tell me like, oh, don't sag your pants, or don't look like a thug, and don't give the people a reason to make you to think that you this and that, and like it more so she was like trying to like I said, like tell you to assimilate to survive, so that way like they didn't persecute you for your blackness type shit. And I'm not saying like I don't agree with that, because when I went to college and I turned 18, I found my own voice and I legit was doing everything I could to be as black as possible. But it's just like I said, my mother, she was a very just soft-spoken woman. Now my father, he was very outspoken on black issues, and he always taught us to stand up and be a man. But my mother was never she wasn't like you. Let's put it that way. I love my mother. She was more of a homemaker. She was very soft-spoken. She wasn't really didn't get involved in politics.
There's multiple. I think that there's multiple ways to get to the right answer. And I say this even in activism. There is the activist that is literally standing outside all day, screaming at the top of their lungs, not moving from whatever building it is that they're protesting, or whatever cause they're protesting. But then there's the people that decide to kind of immerse themselves and put them, having a black police officer saying okay, fine, I'm going to be the body. I'm going to be the body that fills up the police force. I'm going to be the body that represents black people in Congress. I'm going to, they kind of immerse themselves in the system so that they can fix what they feel like is a systemic issue. And then there are people that do a mixture of both, right? But
like I said, she was just more so scared because she had 5 sons, 5 black sons.
I'd be terrified in the South. We live in Washington.
Yeah. So I mean, and honestly, this was the South in the 90s and 80s too. So early 2000s. But again, like I said, I'm not. Again, hope my mama don't hear this. But mama, I'm not trying to talk bad about you. I'm sorry, mama. My mama not a coon.
No, well, the reason why I say that is because, and you know what? That's another thing that we have to talk about, because I feel like you are always, when we're talking about something that is serious, you definitely use comedy as your I guess defense mechanism, exactly. But before we get into that, what I was saying is that I definitely have things that I know about myself that my husband can't stand. I want to create a space for him, but he's like, Jamia, please leave me alone. Please stop trying to psychoanalyze me. I just want to be I just want to be. And so I know that my children are going to be like, Mom, not right now. Are you sure you don't want to talk about it right now? Well, whenever you want to talk. Oh my God, when they're probably going to stay, virgins. I'm praying for it. Because I'm going to be like, are you sure you don't want to have sex? Here's condoms. And I'm just going to make it awkward for them. And that's not what they want.
That's the opposite of my mother. My mother didn't talk about shit. We didn't discuss shit. She was like, I don't want to know shit. I'm not your friend. Don't talk about sex to me.
And I'm like, my husband is definitely don't psychoanalyze me. I know that my kids are going to be like, Mom, you're making this awkward. Because I want to have that connection with them. And I want them to be... Look, nigga, my kids murder somebody. We gonna hide the body. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. I love you.
I respect that. My mama said she would snitch on me. No, I swear to God.
So since you're a jokester, though.
No, all right. So look, one time I told my mom, I was like, Mom, if I ever committed a murder, would you hide me? She's like, nope. If the people want you, she's like, they come and get you. And she's like, well, I wouldn't tell her where you at, but I ain't about to help you hide.
I'm not gonna tell them where you at, but I'm.
Like I said, I love my mom. My mama, she had she kind of had a hard upbringing a little bit, because her mother died when she was 4. Her father wasn't there, so she was raised by her mother. I mean, her grandmother and her aunt. So yeah, my mother. People don't believe me when I say this. My mama didn't hug us coming up. So my mom, I don't remember hugging my mom until I was maybe 15. After
that is so.
I kid you not. I would go to hug my mom, and she'd be like, "Boy, get out of here with that."
You know what's really
I know it's
interesting?
not funny, but.
You know what's really interesting though? Because there's something called being touched out. I get sensory overload. And we say all of these words, but it's just the language. We're able to give language to what we're experiencing. But imagine carrying a baby for 9 months and they won't stop moving. They're just there. And then you need to hold them all the time. And then they're snotty faced, runny nosed, and you have to, like, they're crying and wailing as toddlers, and then they're afraid to go to school at 6, and so, like, at some point you get, like, really touched out, and I feel bad, but, like, I can't. Most moms that I talk to, they don't really want to hug on their kids either.
I get. I was the last of 6 children, and my mother
probably was just touched out.
I mean, she was never an affectionate woman at all. You can ask my older brother. My mother. It wasn't until my brother Dean, R.I.P., he passed away, that we actually, like, started to get in touch with our emotions and feelings. Because honestly, before that, we never even told each other we loved each other, like, on a daily basis. Like, I don't know about if you and your family had a relationship where y'all tell each other I love you. Y'all see
every
each
single
other.
time we get off the phone.
That's why I say, like, growing up, like, I don't know what it was about my household, but we were not a very emotionally mature people. Like, we didn't tell each other we loved you. Like, we didn't really, like, we were a close family, but it was weird. Like, and I don't want to end my family dirty business on, but I'm just being honest. Like,
I think that it's really interesting because most black men that I talk to, they don't have the sort of relationship that I have with my mom.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, really close to the point that we butt heads, but it's okay that we're butting heads right now.
Yeah. I think I've only ever butted heads with my mom one time, and yeah, because normally I would just shut my mouth and not say shit, but I got to the boiling point where I just couldn't say shit anymore. But I'm glad that you and your mother have a relationship where y'all can be open and honest, and I can get to that point. But I don't know, my mother is just, it's weird because, like, as a baby, she was very affectionate. Like, my mother loves babies. So, like, as a baby, very affectionate. But I kid you not, once I turned, like, maybe 2 or 3 years old, that shit was done.
That's
so
what I was going to say.
Like, cut, like,
at what point do we stop? When I was making the hot dog joke.
Yeah.
At what point do we look at our black boys and tell them that they're too old for that, and they're no longer cutesy for this, and and that's doing too much? Because I wonder, like, for women it's a different experience. For girls coming up, it's definitely a different experience, and that's a later topic. But because I feel like girls get groomed, just saying, by accident, on purpose also. But I wonder, like, dang, I really hope that, you know, my son doesn't want to, like, when is my son going to want to stop sleeping in the bed with me? Like, when is that weird? And why? Because that's my baby.
Yeah.
Like, if you're 15 and you just sleep.
That's a little.
If you're 15 and you're 6, you can come play around with your mom. It's how I feel. That's genuinely how I feel, because I'm not there yet, but I already know, like, if you're sick, I want to, you know, I'm just going to want to cuddle with you. And then also, too, I grew up with my godmom. She's a very affectionate woman. And she'll, like, love up on all of the boys in our family. And her grandson, my god brother, she loves up on them. She whispers in their ears and tells jokes. And I hope to be that person with my sons, no matter what age they are. I hope that we can keep that banter, that sweetness going.
Yeah.
Because, like, how dare my boys not be sweet in this world that is so bitter? Like, it's so... Hey, yo, this podcast is called Poetry, Prose, and Politics. Sometimes there's prose, but that was definitely some poetry right there. We're going to get into the politics of it. But, like, for real, I really hate it. It hurts my feelings. And in regards to feelings, you joke yours out. Like, you just laugh at your feelings. Can you talk about your comedy and your stand-up and what it is that, like, you do? Because a lot of your sets are you laughing at yourself to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're talking about. But yeah, like I said, I did one set where I talked about, like, growing up with my dad and how, like, he wasn't necessarily, like, he wasn't one of those dads when he came home, he just beat you for no reason. If he had a reason to beat you, he was going to beat you.
Well, that's good. That's good because, you know, some of us be coming up with drunken...
Yeah. So, like, my dad wasn't like a drunk, like, he was just coming like, somebody going to pay for this, goddamn it. Nah, he wasn't like that.
That's
but
great.
If you got suspended from school or if you did some shit and he had the opportunity to beat you, like, he was going to beat you up. But he also was just a very, like I think he was trying to prepare us for the world because he wasn't a very, like, emotionally available person. Like, he would talk and shit like that. My dad would do random shit, like, you'd walk around the house and he'd just, like, elbow you in the chest, like, just to make sure you was on guard.
That is terrible. And you know what's crazy? They found that at a very young age, babies have a reflex to, like, hold on to grip And maybe it's the reflex that comes from when we were possibly apes, if you believe in that theory.
We're not gonna get into that.
We're not gonna get into that though, because I'm not trying to. Anyways, the Earth is flat, y'all.
Shout out Kyrie Irving.
I'm just joking, bro. But yeah, so they have a grip reflex so that they can hold on to their parents, and I think that is really interesting because majority of the time, like, we will test boys and we won't test girls and say, "Oh, he's so strong," and that's such an interesting thing that we do that to boys.
For manhood, it's fucking handsome, muscled, and
and I guess that's normally what we think. But shout out to the short kings out there.
Shout out, I'm 6 feet 1.
The only short king that I could think of, he got decrowned. What's his name? Tory Lanez. I think he's getting deported too. So he got decrowned and deported because he shot Meg. So
it's gonna be bad for Tory, man. Damn,
no,
I ain't gonna speak on it.
You got in trouble last time.
Look,
do you want to explain because you explained it to me really well. You said that it wasn't because...
No, all right. I'm be like I said. I feel like a lot of people bring gender into this, and again, I love black women. My mother's black. I know black women. Like, I love black women. So it has nothing to do with gender. It has everything to do with me being a piece of shit and like no.
Oh
my man. No, because I'm saying like there are other rappers that have killed people. Like King Von killed people, and we still openly support King Von. Like R.I.P. to him. Like Boosie killed somebody. Like there's a lot of people. No, I'm sorry.
Not you airing out.
No, allegedly killed somebody. But let's just say there's a lot of other people. Even the Melly Kid
stabbed somebody.
Yeah. So like, did he stab somebody? Like a lot of actually, did he shot somebody? Yeah. He stabbed somebody too. My bad. We're not going.
Anyway,
I say that to say that it's not
allegedly.
Because it's not allegedly. It's not because Megan is a woman. It's just because like. Biasly, I like Tory's music, and I just want him to be the case. Like, it has nothing to do with Megan being a woman. Like, what he did was wrong. Like, we know that, but like, again, it's just fucked up how we.
I think the nuance in it is that black women experience literal feminicides. Is that the word? Femicides. Where they get killed just for being a woman. Like their identity as a woman, and this happens like to women that are transgender women because niggas be lying, talk about they didn't want to be with that transgender woman, and yes the fuck you did. You knew what she was when she was because she told you. Like, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. Or like women that shut men down, that say that they don't want to be with them. They get hurt in situations specifically because they're a woman. And street stuff is street stuff, and this is the difference.
That's how I look at it.
Well, that's not the reason why I say that it's different, and this is my debate portion of it, is because like when we look at the 6ix9ine case, the reason why 6ix9ine I feel like was a rat was because you said that you were about that life. Mm-hmm. You literally inserted yourself into being a blood because you just so desperately wanted to be a part of gang culture, and then you snitched. You snitch. Am I saying I'm a snitch? Jamia gonna snitch.
Yeah,
Jamia's because I am a civilian. This is not my life. Oh, my daddy was doing some stuff, but my daddy did that stuff. You know what? It helped me grow up and stuff like that. Then he went to jail. He went to jail for 17 years. I'm not about that life. Mm-hmm. I'm not about going to jail for 17 years. I'm a regular civilian person. Like, I'm not in these streets. Please don't come to me. I might be in the streets. My business, but I'm not in these streets. I'm not a part of gang culture, so because of that, I'm definitely going to snitch. But if I had inserted myself in gang culture and I said like this was what it was that I wanted to do, 10 toes down, I was going to be this, then what are you doing?
All right, now let me.
I think that it's different because Meg, she's not that. Right. She's an artist.
So again. Tory, let's just be clear. Tory Lanez was wrong for shooting Meg. I'm not just.
King Von shot people in the street.
Yeah, he definitely shot people.
When all of these people allegedly they shot street because they were street niggas. It's a difference when you're bringing street mentality into regular civilian industry stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this. So if it was a situation like with Cardi B, because Cardi B has came out and claimed like blood and shit like that. She called herself a Barty, which I don't know if she's actual, but she even wore red in the video. Like she been Cardi. And then they brought her name up in the 6ix9ine case. We're not gonna talk about that. But so if Cardi B came out and some beef shit happened and somebody shot Cardi B, would would it be justified being that she, well, not justified, but would it be like similar to what you're saying because Cardi B has claimed gang ties and she's claimed to be like a gangster?
First of all, I think gang shit is stupid as hell. I have to say that, like, just in general, I think that gangsters was a whole thing that, you know, the mafiosos did back in, that's probably not an appropriate term, but like that was like mafia shit. That was like not, yeah, we had gangsters too, but like our gangsters in the 70s, when we're talking about the Bloods and the Crips were too
but they originated something like positive. The Crips were community response and progress, and it got started by Tootie Williams, and the Bloods have ties from the Black Panthers and the Black
so
Keystone.
you're talking about two I guess I compare the Bloods and the Crips to our government, to literally blue and red, to literally the Democrats and the Republicans, because at the end of the day, the root of it all is that they're wanting to find a peaceful way for democracy. Bloods and Crips were ensuring that we were able to survive in America, right? Like we as Black people. In the same way, Democrats and Republicans were wanting to create a great liberty for us, right? Or maintain the liberty for us. Somewhere along the way, you know, the Republicans decided that they were going to be selfish. Somewhere along the way, the Democrats wanted to appease everybody very desperately, and also wanted to only appease to themselves because they also want money. I'm not either. I'm definitely independent. And so with that being said, I definitely feel like, yeah, Bloods and Crips at some point in time decided that they were going to be a little bit more self-serving to the detriment of their community, and that's exactly what our government is doing, because they're definitely gang culture too. I don't stand for it. I don't stand for gangs. I don't stand for gangs. I don't stand for gang violence. I think that is stupid that rappers kill rappers. I think that is stupid. If Boosie was to die today, nigga would be hurt.
Niggas would be hurt.
I'd be hurt. No, I'm saying me, nigga. I'd be hurt.
That's what I'm saying. But we justify, like, cause like I said, we as humans justify situations. Again, I'm guilty of it too. That's why I want to know. So if
Cardi B was to be in some shit, I'd be hurt. Yeah, I'd be hurt.
No, I'm saying, but would it be like how I put this? We wrong no matter what. But would the gender aspect be less of a factor if it was Cardi B because she has gang ties?
The reason why I think that it's different is because, well, actually, no, I don't think that it's different. Because when Quavo watched, what am I call it? That the nigga that wasn't left off of Bad and Bougie, help me out.
Take off.
See, and I had to make a joke out of it. I'm sorry, I had to make a joke out of it because I can't, because that really hurt me. When Nipsey died, I cried. Yeah. I cried hard.
Actually, when Takeoff died, I cried because, like, damn, bro, like Takeoff was a cool nigga. Like he seemed
that he was just chilling. Like,
and he got killed by
killed for nothing. Like, it was a stray bullet. Like, pisses me off.
Let's just get like away from the Cardi situation, but let's just talk RP Takeoff, RP Rocket Man. We continue.
With that being said, I think that it's really, the reason why I feel like it's different is because literally King Von was still in it. He did not remove himself. Okay. The reason why I think that is different is with a lot of drill rappers is because they're literally still in it. What's it called? Lil Teke was literally running from the race.
Yeah, we talked about
he was literally running from a race.
Oh, and you wanna know what's crazy? They said he actually could have had a chance of beating the case if he did the race. If he wouldn't have cut off his ankle monitor and did the race, he actually could have maybe stood a chance.
He was literally in it. Like, you're in the mix. It's stupid. It's very dumb, but you're in it.
But that kind of goes back to that whole toxic. Well, not toxic. That whole way of thinking as a black man. He like, I'm a tough guy. Like, I'm about to show these niggas like fuck. Instead, like, we don't. Almost like you're not thinking logically. You're thinking emotionally. You're not thinking.
Is it even emotionally? I think that because my professor, she's from Chicago. Shout out to Dr. Taylor, Kamara Taylor. I love you. She's the best woman that is out here in the game. She's an awesome psychologist, and having a conversation with her, she talked about how, like, kids in Chicago, they just want to be memorialized.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't even want to.
It's almost like going out. It's almost like kind of like are you familiar with the story of Achilles? How he wanted to go out like in the blaze of glory, like he'd rather die in battle than die of old age. I guess it's the same thing. Like these kids in Chicago want to be like remembered and they want to be immortalized in like the hood, quotations around hood, but they want to be immortalized, and instead of doing it in the right way, like going to school and like getting a degree and like becoming like somebody in your community that people can look up to. Like, okay, that's
instead of dying old and just being able to be happy that like, and I think that it has definitely something to do with the fact of where we come from, seeing stuff happen to us every single day. Like, again, I started smoking. I smoked weed at 11 was the first time I smoked weed, but like when I continued smoking, when I started actually smoking heavily at 17, it was because I was really using, like, I should have been prescribed like Xanax or something, or Zoloft or whatever. That's what it was for me. It was my sense of medication. It was me giving myself the medication that I felt like I deserved. And so I definitely understand the plight of Black children who they can't even imagine making it to 30.
Yeah.
And God bless it. I'm almost 30 in
Man, that's
praise be.
Crazy. Like even people I know, like I know a lot of people that they say to themselves like they can't imagine themselves at an old age. I heard one rapper say that he can't imagine himself old. It's like a lot of people feel this way. It's like they rather just, I don't know how to. It's
not even that we'd rather.
We're not rather.
We are in a situation in which, and I think that it's extremely interesting because now I'm like literally going to college and all this other stuff. Like I'm married with kids. Like I'm living the life that I literally say I'm living my best white life. But why is this what we think of as a white life? Just like DDG, why is his emotions like some Tom Cruise shit? Like,
does he
why is it not attached to blackness?
Is he not good enough to feel his emotions? Like, is he not entitled? So that's the kind of the central thing I'm trying to get is like, we need to hop with it, especially as Black men. We need to kind of give ourselves more grace and feel as though, yes, like you said earlier, affirmations, like I deserve to be happy, like I deserve to live a good life, like I deserve to be able to express myself. It's literally in our
Constitution, which is not written for us.
Yeah, facts, 3/5.
But it was.
So I'm just saying, like, we as Black men, if we start practicing these affirmations, actually believing. Like I said, me personally, I didn't believe, like 2-3 years ago, I didn't believe that I was like deserving of happiness. I didn't believe I was deserving of like certain shit. Like I just thought, like, I was
and then you
supposed
tell
to live
yourself
a hard
that.
life. Like, yeah, but then you start telling yourself, like, man, I deserve this, and you actually begin to believe it. And then people don't really, like you said, the tongue is a powerful thing, and words hold power. And I'm a firm believer in that at this point in my life. Like, if you speak it into existence, I feel like it is more likely to happen if you speak it into existence. Like Einstein said, if you believe you, was it Einstein that said that? I don't know. Somebody said it. If you believe you are, or if you believe you aren't, you're right. So, you know what I'm saying?
The man that believe he is and the man that believe he isn't, they're both right. Also, too, there's so many thoughts that, in regards to, like, this whole podcast talks about that. It talks about how we have ideologies. For example, Lao Tzu said, he's a Chinese philosopher. He said, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, because surely it will become your destiny. And I guess his name meant like old master. But I say all of that to say is that, like, again, when we think of what is supposed to be masculine, when we think of like what a man is supposed to be, a Black man specifically, when you show up, and we're the ones that are determining the characters and the attributes that we deem as masculine. We are the ones that are saying, like, this is what it is. So if we're that person that's saying this is what it is, surely somebody's going to just show up or surely when you decide to show up and be that particular way that you want to be, then everybody else is just going to conform around you. Sure, you're going to get a girl that's going to say that you're zesty. You're going to get somebody else that's going to say that you're saucy. But remember when you started, like, setting boundaries, and they weren't used to those boundaries? So just like you started setting those boundaries, whereas I'm not gonna let this fuck nigga like try to do something to me. I'm not gonna let this person like try to one up on me in all these sorts of different ways. When you started setting those boundaries, people had to shift when you set those boundaries. So why can't you also create the person that you want to be if you already have the tools in your tongue? You know what I'm saying? And with that, yeah, most definitely, if it's saucy for you to tell yourself in the mirror, I am this, I am greatness, I am powerful, let it be saucy. Yeah, and then let everybody else think that you're saucy. And then when it's normalized, because unfortunately we are, as black people, we're the cool, we're the trendsetters, then let us be the trendsetters and let us stop including like this fuck shit in our music. Because the reason why the fuck shit even exists in our music is because the labels want to ensure that they're disenfranchising us, and then putting us in prison, because guess what label companies own as well? The prison. So why don't we then decide to say, like, when are we going to take our own freedom? If our freedom is given out to everybody else, when are we going to take our own freedom? And I think this is what I mean by like me wanting to speak it into my son and letting my son be zesty.
Damn, yo, she's spitting facts right now. She really giving me a whole new way of thinking right now, because I'm looking like, yeah, like I said, my whole way of thinking has always been like, as a black man, you have to be this way, you have to be hard, you have to go out into the world. But you really are giving me a new way of thinking, like, fuck that, like, set boundaries and like let people adapt to those boundaries. Like, we don't have to adhere to those stereotypes and shit like that. Like, damn.
Also too, like, when we think about a quote unquote masculine man and like heteronormalcy, right? Y'all are supposed to be disciplined. Is that not discipline? Is controlling your mind and who you perceive yourself to be not being disciplined?
Yeah, it is.
So why? And I'm not saying that I have the answers. I'm not saying that being a feminist is the answer. I'm saying, like, as a hood feminist, because like specifically a feminist. A feminist. No, not starting a podcast called Feminist. God damn. Sorry, God, that was blasphemous. But anyway, sacrilegious. Anyways, like, not saying that it is a like feminine a feminist movement is supposed to be fixing man's problems, but when are we going to just embrace it? And if embracing femininity is the key, if it's feminine, then fuck it, embrace it. Because we get to, like, everybody healing except for you.
Yeah.
You living in a world where the world is turning into peace and you're still a daisy cutting flowers, like, in the garden. Why?
Fuck that. I'm about to go into my sophomore era. I don't care.
Hashtag sophomore era. Hashtag black men frolicking. Hashtag, like, all that shit. Hashtag nigga flowers. God damn it. Like, do it is all I'm saying. And I don't know. This is what I am doing for my black sons. This is what I encourage for. I don't have the answers. Hopefully men can explore more on this topic. Like, once you hear it, you can just say, with comedy, laugh at it and say, ha ha ha, but I'm happy. Ha ha ha, but I'm healed.
Yeah, that's usually
how ha ha healed.
Like I said, I can laugh at it because, like I said, I've healed from it. So it's easy to laugh at it when you heal from it. So.
But with that being said, I've enjoyed this conversation with you so much. Please let the people know where that they can follow you on your podcast, listen to your jokes, all of that.
Yes. So, okay. You can follow me on Instagram at Duddy B Walden. That is DUTTYBWILDIN. Duddy B Walden. And they should have the link there for my YouTube page. I'm be honest with you, I gotta get more organized when it comes to my social media. I'm not a social media guy, but I'm getting better. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube page. Yeah, I really appreciate me for having me on. I really enjoyed it as well.
And make sure you check out his podcast.
Podcast.
I was on the block.
My fault.
What's your podcast?
My podcast called The Block. DA space BLOCK. The Block. So yeah, we talk about, relationships, politics, social commentary, stuff like that. So yeah, if you like this podcast, I'm pretty sure you might enjoy mine. So check it out, The Block on YouTube.
Yeah, Dustin for Edwards. Sure. And thank you so much for coming on to the space today, making space, talking about black frolicking, black male frolicking, black men, soft boy era. Like,
if we gonna make that a thing, right?
If we gonna make it a thing, if white people get to monetize off of like black, what's it called, like the black stereotype. Motherfucker, let them monetize off of this shit.
Exactly. Right. Let's give them some.
Let's give them some healed shit then.
Right.
But anyway, thank you so much for tuning into Poetry, Prose, and Politics. I am your girl, the political poet, Jamia Zarzuela, and this has been another episode. Check you guys later. Bye.
Peace.
With COVID putting a damper on connecting and networking, I had to find a new way to business card. That's why I went with Link. My Link card allows me to share my podcasts, social media, websites, or whatever else about me while still keeping it safe and social distancing. The card's NFC capability allows me to share all of that in just a tap of the phone. And the QR code on the back lands people to a custom page that I've modified for Black Lives Matter or COVID updates. In fact, you can listen to this very episode up on there now. So say goodbye to handing out your old business cards and say hello to Link. And because you're a part of the Speak Free fam, enjoy a 15% off discount by using Poetry Prose at checkout. That's visiting linkapp.com and typing in Poetry Prose. That's linkapp.com and typing in POETYPROSE when you get like me and grab yourself a new way to business card. It's a wrap. If you like this episode and want to hear more like it, then don't forget to follow the show, Poetry, Prose, and Politics, at The Political Poet everywhere you are social. That's THAPOLITICALPOET. Everywhere you are social. This show is also aired on KTQA-LP 95.3 FM Tacoma, so you can always catch me over there on their airwaves, or you can listen to me wherever you stream your favorite podcast. Until next time, catch you later.